Well, my name's Will, and it's really, really good to have you here. This is our first time back since, when did we take a break? Like the end of October, early November? Wow. A lot's changed. A lot's happened. Yeah, it's good to be here. For those of you who don't know, I wasn't expecting on doing this, but I feel like I should. Is that okay? Should I? Yeah? On Sunday, my wife and I, Moosey, come on up here. My wife and I, hey babe, you can cop us. It's almost like we planned this. My wife and I, thanks Tammy. My wife and I were given the honor of stepping in as, I don't even know what the word is. What's the word? Senior? God, that sounds weird. As senior pastors of Paytonsville Church here in Franklin. Yeah. Sounds great, right? You don't have to do it. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, whoa, yeah. Yeah. I already don't sleep enough. But no, if I can be really, really honest, I think this is one of the greatest honors I've had. And we're not going to do this all night, but I got the joy of coming here about a year and a half ago at the request of Pastor Larry Randolph, who is still pastor emeritus at this house and will have free range and reign to do as he sees fit. But as some of you don't know, in September, Larry had an accident and he broke his back. And the journey has been really arduous for health and restoration. In fact, the first time he was back in this church was on Sunday, which the fact that he mustered up the strength to come and lay hands on us and bless us was like just probably one of the biggest honors. And we both met Larry and Laura almost 20 years ago. And Larry, for me, is a hero, and if anything, has grown as a hero in my life since I got to sit up here with him and do these Wednesday nights. And I 100% know that he will be back for these Wednesday nights. I don't know when, but I 100% know that he will be back. Because honestly, probably the greatest joy, and my wife knows this, in this last season and moving out here was sitting up here with a goat or a legend. Not an old goat, but yeah.
It sounds a little funny.
No, like it's goat. All the cool kids say it, Moose. Yeah. Like legitimately, I don't throw the P word around lightly. You know the P, oh, sorry.
Yes, that sounds bad.
Prophet.
Yes.
I don't throw that word around lightly. But in the list of people that I would give that title to, Pastor Larry is at the top of that list, and for many, many, many reasons. And if I never imagined this, but it is an honor. And as this happened very fast, it did. It happened very, very fast. The Lord, as I was praying and seeking Him on what to do. Because I don't know if some of you may or may not know this, but I lead a missions organization with an incredible team. I'm one piece of many, but I have the beautiful responsibility of leading a missions team with around 500 missionaries in 76 locations in 35, 6, 7 nations. I'm sorry, Sean, I don't have them memorized yet. And they grow, and we're growing around the world. And so I get to do that with my life. We have over 5,000 churches globally, and but I have to say, this feels equally weighty as the day that I stepped in to serve Heidi and Roland Baker. And I'm not just saying that to impress you guys. This actually feels as weighty, if not more, in a lot of ways, because at least in Iris, we knew a lot more, but so with
Did we?
yeah, 100%. 100%. I feel like we knew a lot more.
Okay.
So with humility and grace, please give us as we're stepping into this new role, as we restructure our lives, gratefully restructure our lives. I'm coming off the road, which historically I used to travel about 220 days out of the year. To come and be here because we believe what God is doing in Franklin is as important as what he's doing in the nations. And what he's doing in this church is as important as what he's doing in the nations. I actually believe that with all my heart. I really do. And I'm not lying. And so, that being said, the first thing that I felt like the Lord spoke to me was continue Wednesday nights. And to be honest, I didn't know if I could, but we're going after it. We're going after his presence. And I want to see, probably one of the greatest joys in this last season has been watching people get rocked by God here on Wednesday nights, healed. I didn't get to hold the baby. Where are they? Yeah. You guys got a word 9 months or 10 and a half months ago. And just seeing, it's actually really beautiful even just to see the fruit. And not that I'm saying that I did that. I didn't do that. You did that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. But just to see the fruit. Y'all know what I'm saying. Listen, as you can tell, I'm nervous, and you should be too. I talk for a living. But just to see the fruit of what God's done in this precious house with all of you precious people. It has brought so much joy to my life, to my family's life, and we're really excited about jumping into this year. I was not preparing this. I was just going to go right in. But
I was not either.
Yeah.
But we just want to say welcome to everybody.
Yeah.
And let's see what the Lord is up to.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is he is the biggest thing. There's nothing else but him. Not just the encounters are amazing, but also storing that encounter as you take it back home. It's all about him, and him alone.
Yeah.
And learning how to behold his presence together as a body and figuring out what he wants to do here, and then us taking it back home. Okay?
Come on. Amen. That being said, it's good to see you guys. It's good to be back. It's good to get back into a little bit of rhythm. I've been hungry. You guys been hungry? Yes. Jessica, are you hungry? God.
Are you awake?
Another thing, as I was just praying today, and then I have something very special tonight. I really do. How many of you guys have moved here in the last 5 years up until now? You moved here? Yeah? Okay. You moved here in the last 5 years? Okay. Can you just raise your hands, look around? Okay. Awesome. I felt like the Lord moved many of you here, and because this is the land of milk and honey. It's a promised land for you, and I'm not saying that it's perfect, but what I'm saying is I felt like many of you came here, and this was and he gave you a word of it's the land of milk and honey. And I was just reading that verse over and over and over again. And because I don't know if you know this about me, but I stopped recently. My last one was killed. But up until about a year ago, I was a beekeeper for the last, I don't know, how many years, Sean? 6 years? 7 years? In COVID, I started keeping bees. And it wasn't until, this last year that I lost my last hive. And I was reading that, and it hit me. Why didn't they say the land of many cows and lots of bees? Right? It's the land of milk and honey. But the land of milk and honey has ridiculous amounts of cows and ridiculous amounts of bees. Right? And bees need to be tended and cows need to be tended. And I don't know who this is for, but I felt like some of you guys came in and you thought that it was just going to be milk and honey means coasting. But I felt like this is a season of getting to work again. And milk and honey means we need farmers and beekeepers, right? We need people that do the hard work, that go to work. And I just want to encourage you. He's not a God that lies, and he didn't bring you here for nothing. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. And yeah, milk and honey requires a lot of farmers and a lot of beekeepers. And you're going to get stung, and you got to muck. I don't know. I've never taken care of a cow, but I got stung a lot. I got stung a lot. A lot. Through the nets, through the smoke and all of the bee suit, I still got stung. And so I want to encourage it. Hopefully this is encouraging. When I have milked a cow. I have. It was weird. But you get up at 5 a.m. or earlier to go and take care of the flock. And I just felt like this. I wanted to encourage you. As you have been promised something from God, that doesn't mean that it's time to coast. The land of milk and honey doesn't mean you come in and take what God has already planted. You come alongside and serve. And for any of the transplants, I feel like it's time to come in and serve and pick up something. God didn't just bring you here for you to build. God brought you here for you to serve. Go low and slow. But it's time to go to work, guys, because God didn't bring you here for nothing. He promised you something. And my prayer is that this year, man, you just hit it out of the flipping park. But don't be scared of getting stung, and don't be scared of going to work and getting up early, because it can't be a land of milk and honey with a bunch of lazy Christians. You got anything you want to say? No? Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
It cost him everything.
Yeah.
So a little bit of work is okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe a lot of work. But if it cost him everything, he will not send you where he has not gone first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on. Well,
I know you have a guest.
Yeah, tonight, something really cool. In fact, I'm very, very very excited. I get to introduce you to someone who I just love. If I could grow up and be like my father, I would be happy, even if I was 50% like my father in the natural. But if I can grow up and be like Peter Wilcox, I think I would just hover above everybody's heads, just floating in glory. One of my heroes in the faith, and I don't say this lightly, is here in the room tonight. And we were chatting yesterday because the Wilcox family came out to be with their family, and they're about to return back onto the missions field. There's few people in this life I have as much respect for in what they do, their obedience to the Lord, as the Wilcox family. And they came to say goodbye yesterday, and I was like, hold on, when do you leave? And they're like, Thursday. I said, Peter, would you come and share with us? And I just want to pull some golden nuggets out of lifelong, obedient, miracle walking missionaries that have given their life, raised how many kids on the field? 8? 7. Gosh, I mean, maybe there's hope for one more, Debbie? No, I'm just saying. Okay, just saying. 7 kids on the field, seeing God move in the miraculous in more ways than you can imagine. And I was hoping that I could maybe pull some gold out of him. And so could you welcome Peter Wilcox up here? Peter, why don't you come and join us? Okay. There's a microphone.
I'm nervous.
You are? Why are you nervous? You do this for a living.
I'd rather be in Africa.
I know. Do you guys ever like meet people that they're so sweet it makes your teeth hurt? You're like, I'm going to need to brush after that. That's the Wilcox family. Debbie, could you just stand for a second? This is Debbie Wilcox. And you have some kids around. I don't know, they're in Iris Ministries. How many of you are familiar with Iris? Okay, yeah. In Iris, these guys they're legends in Iris. And I mean that. And he's not going to like half of what I'm going to say about him. That's why I love him so much. These guys are legends. You've been doing missions for how long? Rick?
Since 85. Since 85.
85. So I was 3. And you have been living in obedience to wherever the Lord calls you and sends you.
We've tried. Yes.
You've tried. And so I know Spain,
Mm-hmm.
Bolivia. You were born in Bolivia.
Yes.
And you've lived in Mozambique,
Mm-hmm.
but you've also traveled around
Mm-hmm.
during your time in Mozambique. Are there any nations I'm missing?
As a single person, I've traveled about 30 nations.
30 nations.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been married?
We've been married since 1984.
1984.
Yes.
Okay. That's a couple of years.
Yeah.
41?
Yeah, 41 years.
41 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys might have some questions, and I know after. I'll try to maybe, if we have time, to open it up to some Q&A. But I was hoping, there's something that you guys do really, really well. I mean, there's a lot of things. But one of the things that I really admire about you is the simplicity of walking with the Lord. It's hard to put it into words, but every time I get around you and your family, this devotion, obedience, and simplicity oozes out of you. I interviewed Peter for a Green Room, which is a podcast that I do. And was it on? Did I ask you, or was this in private when I asked you about Christmas and how much you spend on Christmas?
That was on the Christmas podcast.
That was on the Christmas podcast. It was right before Christmas. And I'm like, hey, you have 8 kids. How much on average? 7. Gosh, what is this? 7. Today's the 7th. It's 7. Okay. I was like, on average, how much have you spent on your family for Christmas? On average, for the last 20-something years with your kids. And his answer was $50 on average for the whole family. And that wasn't like first of all, I'm spending way too much. Second of all, I know all of their kids, and they just love the Lord. There's no disappointment in God. They're excited, and all the things that I feel like my kids would struggle with, or it wasn't even an issue. It was just like, this is what the Lord gives us. And so I don't know. I got so many questions, but I just wanted hopefully to start off by asking if you could maybe just talk about your relationship with the Lord, your family's relationship with the Lord, some of the key things that keep you on that simplicity with the Lord.
Yeah, this will be hard to put into
just go
words. Being born on the mission field already gave me a foundation as to what is important and not important. We grew up in a very poor country, which is Bolivia. Our house that we had as a family was made out of bamboo, grass roof, and a dirt floor. And we were very happy. We didn't know we were poor. We didn't compare ourselves with anybody else. And that's the way we lived, and we were happy because the Lord was there with us. And so when God called me into missions as a single person, it was just to serve. I had promised the Lord, and I said to the Lord, I consecrate my life to serve you all the days of my life. So I had no option. Yeah, I can't pursue things for myself in that sense, look for comfort, build a little kingdom for myself, and a life for myself in that sense. Because my life has already been given to the Lord. and that's the way I live. And so everything I do, the decisions we make as a couple is oriented towards the Lord. It's not for our own comfort. And we do have a house in Mozambique, but the Lord told us we had to buy the house. We didn't just want to buy it, but the Lord told us we had to buy it, and so we bought the house. But we didn't live in it for many years. Our daughter, Antoinette, Hank's wife, they were the ones that lived in it for quite a long time, until the Lord took us over to Pemba, and we lived in it then. But we've had to hold things very lightly and be willing to give it all up if God calls us to give it all up. And for us, relationship with him and relationship with one another was much more important than anything else. And bringing people to Jesus and discipling the people, that's very important. And that's more important than what we could ever try and do for ourselves as well. Perhaps here, I could just say one little thing. After being in Spain for 12 years as missionaries, God took us back to Australia. We're Australian, by the way. We were in Australia for 8 years. And in that time, we were pastoring Spanish-speaking churches. And one night after preaching, and we're the last ones to leave, and we're closing up, and there was a couple in the church that came to visit that night. They were friends of ours, and they came by surprise. So they were in the congregation, and as I was ministering, they were there. And they stayed with us while we locked up everything. We went out. And as we were walking, the wife said to me that she had a vision in the meeting concerning me. And as we were walking down, she explained to me the vision that she had. And in the vision, she saw me leading a large group of people down a mountain, a very rough mountain, lots of boulders, bushes, and so forth, dangerous descent, to a resting place in the bottom, well-watered garden and so forth. And she said to me, Peter, you know the way. You know how to get there. You can go there safely and quickly. But you have to make sure that you never leave anybody behind, that they have been given into your care, and they are to arrive as well. And in the group were sick, the lame, the blind, old, young, babies. They're all there in the group, and I had to make sure that I took everybody down safely to that place of rest. And so that's been my orientation all of my life, that I just can't think of my rest. I live in rest, but I can't think of my own rest. I sacrifice my life so that I can bring others into rest.
As you have been here in Franklin, I'm gonna poke the bear a little bit, if that's okay. Don't worry, and then we're gonna go somewhere, I promise you. As you have spent the last month and a half in Franklin, and I've seen you here at this service. I know you've gone to other services. And what is, as you've served the global church and served the poor and served the wealthy, is there anything that you see over Franklin or anything that you would want to share to the church here? So just before you answer that, Peter, so we've planted thousands of churches around the world, Mozambique being predominantly where they are.
Yes.
And you spend a lot of your time going into remote places.
Mm-hmm.
Peter and his family, I just want them to understand, they have been tied up, their whole family. Children have been like pistol whipped. They live in very dangerous, gone through war zones. Like, this is not, these guys are legends, okay? And so when I ask this, what I'm asking for isn't just a soft word. Like, I'm asking, like, what as you've served and given your life away, what has the Lord told you about this place? Because when you say give your life away, you and your whole family has done that their whole life.
How can I explain? We all live in a context.
Yeah.
And everybody lives in relation to the Lord, in the context where God has him or her. And like when we were living we were in Mozambique, many young Mozambican lads would come up to us and they would say that they would love to immigrate to the United States.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you want to go to the United States? Because there's lots of money. They see everything on films, and so they think that's the way America is. And that's what attracts them. And I said, why do you want to go there when here you live so beautifully? Here you have everything you need. And the beautiful thing about Mozambique is that they love relationship. They love being together. They love looking for one another and hanging out together. And everybody's everywhere, so there's no escaping people. You just meet people and you fellowship with them and so forth. And for them to come here to America, they would die. Because here, you only see people in their cars or in the place where you're going to, like in the shopping centers or in the malls or here in church. That's the only time you see people. And unless they were able to get a car and be able to transport themselves to one place meeting or to another place of meeting, they would be the most loneliest people in the world. And I believe that loneliness is something that you folks here grapple with a lot. I see it in the way you want to have activities for your kids, and you spend huge amount of time with your kids trying to have your kids interact with, socialize with other young kids, and so forth, because maybe you don't realize it, but it's a lonely life people live here. And they want fellowship, they want interaction, they want to be with other people. And so that's what I see here. The distances are so big between houses. Where we live, our neighbor is only a few meters away. And they don't have fences. They don't have gates. You just walk a few meters and you're there with them in their need, in their where they're having a meal on the ground, on their mats and so forth. You sit down with them and you talk. And so there's no barriers or distances in that sense. But one of the things I've noticed here is that. And I believe that community here that God is building here amongst here is so important. And relationships, doing things together, loving one another, caring for one another is super important. We are created for community. And but sadly, a lot of our time is spent getting wealth or getting things, you know. The houses are so big here. It's incredible the amount of things you have to buy to be able to fill these houses. It's amazing.
If you feel uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable for me too. Guys, as you're listening, and I want to do a few more things. I want to open this up for some Q&A in a minute. But my prayer is that there's something that we all need to be encouraged from our brothers and sisters in Christ, right? Their experience. And there are things inside of you that, as Peter shares, I know are going to resonate. You're going to poke and prod. I would say lean into them. Don't lean away from them. Like lean into that. Lean into that tension, because I think there's tension there. And I think for me, moving here and living here, probably one of my biggest struggles is I miss the field. I miss I miss waking up next to the poor.
Yeah.
But I also know that God's called me here,
Yes.
Peter. And I also know that God has a plan here.
Yeah.
And as you've been here, what do you see the Lord doing?
So I was just going to add
Okay.
to the fact that I have a huge admiration for the believers here who hunger and thirst after God. In the middle of affluence, in the middle of the atmosphere that you live here, the hunger and the thirst for God, and to continue with your heart free to love him, to serve him, and to live for him. You know, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Because you see the world just going after things and so influenced by other people and the influencers and the lifestyles and so forth. But for a person who loves the Lord, there's only one objective, and that's to please the Lord, to love him and to live for him. First Peter says, those who believe in him, God, he is precious. And so our heart goes after him because he is very precious for us. And where your heart is, that's where your treasure is.
Yeah.
And so the Lord provides according to the culture and according to the place you live.
Yeah.
But the hearts need to be free to be able to live in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And not feel condemned or guilty about that, but
Yeah.
to know that that's where God calls and you live in that, but your heart is free. You're free to love him. You're free to serve him. And if God calls you to give it up, you're willing to give it up. You're not in bondage to it. And this is what we've had to do many times.
I love it. So obedience is, I think, a big thing.
Yes.
As I watch you and your family. Even when I ask you, like, hey, you want to come do this? You're like, we'll pray about it, or like, we'll pause. Of course, you'll say yes too.
Yes.
It's not like everything.
No.
It's not highly religious,
Right.
but I love that heart for obedience for the Lord. Can you talk to me about your family's, not just maybe yours, but your whole family's journey in obedience, especially as you faced chaos? Because I think a lot of people here are facing chaos in some level, right? And how do you hear his voice on where to go next, what to do next? Because it's the same, whether it's go to the missions field or start this business or change this, the Lord's, putting a pressure for maturation on our lives. Yes. How do you guys, or how do your family hear where to go next?
So we began, this isn't something that we've always lived about hearing his voice and following him in that sense. Ever since we've been married, our heart has been to give up everything to follow the Lord. But it was while we were in Spain that my brother came to visit Paul.
I got to meet him.
Yes.
What a gem.
I know.
They're in Thailand. The whole family's into it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Just when you thought there was one Peter Wilcox was enough. You just look over and I was like, hey, he kind of looks like you too. He's just as amazing. Yeah.
So he came to visit us, and he serves with YWAM. He's been in Thailand for about 25, 30 years now. Yeah. And he came and he began to share with us how to seek the Lord and how to hear his voice and to be obedient to his word. And so we began to practice that. So what we would do as a family, we'd get together with our kids, our babies. It doesn't matter. God uses even the babies to speak. And so we get together. We just give ourselves to him. We pray, ask the Lord to just cleanse our minds, our hearts from anything that would disturb our fellowship with him. And then we would... everybody would bring their Bible, their notebook, their pen, the little kids as well, the 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and just wait. We'd have a specific question, asking the Lord for his guidance as to what we should do or shouldn't do. And we would just wait. and we'd have to wait maybe half an hour. But we would be writing everything that we'd feel the Lord is speaking about, thoughts coming in, a vision, what we feel, we just write. And so after, when everybody seems to be finished, we just have something to write down, and so everybody begins to share. Yeah. And just to illustrate, we had a situation in Mozambique. We had Miriam, Michaela, Carmely, Jemima with us in Dondo.
These are your kids.
Our kids, yeah, that were home.
Some of them.
That were home. Yeah, the others had married and gone.
Yeah.
But, so they were with us. Miriam and Michaela were at that time 16 and 15-year-olds. So we were invited to go to Pemba, which is a 1,300-kilometer journey through rough.
Peter, this is America. We do miles here. Okay.
Okay.
So
that
I
would
can't do the conversion.
About 900
yes.
miles.
Yeah.
About 900 miles. So, and also at that time there was war going on between the two cities, Dondo and Pemba.
You define war.
Okay, war was the government soldiers were fighting rebellious soldiers, the opposition party, and the opposition party was being pushed out of government, sort of thing, and not recognized, and so they wanted to take control and be recognized. And so the main road that went north and south in the country was just being controlled by Renamo. And they would shoot up all of the cars that were going through, the trucks and the buses. And so everybody had to travel by caravan, is that what you call it? By convoy, guarded by soldiers and so forth, to get through the different stages where these rebellious soldiers were.
So they would put like soldiers in the front, soldiers in the back, and what? A line
as
of
well in the
20
middle,
cars would go in the
20,
middle.
maybe 100
Oh, okay.
cars, yeah.
And they would take them over
Right through 300 kilometers of road that were controlled. So we were invited to participate in the Harvest School and the school, Irish Mission School up in Pemba. And we said to our girls that we've been invited, that we'll be going. This was in May. And so they said to me, "You're crazy."
Your daughter said
Yes,
this to you?
you're crazy. We're just going to get killed going through there.
Like legitimately.
Yes.
This isn't like a.
It's not just a saying.
Yeah.
It was
Every car
actually
would get shot up.
Get shut up.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the Lord will take care of us. I mean,
How did you know that? I get it. Yes. That's what I
Yeah.
oh yeah, it sounds great.
well,
How many of you guys would drive your family through a war zone to go to a mission school? Okay, so how did you know that? How do you know that you know that you know?
because confidence in the Lord comes from knowing Him. And so in our journey, God doesn't take us from one place to another place without all the little processes on the way.
Confidence no, we're not going to move. Confidence in the Lord comes from knowing Him.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, like, for instance, I know you for many years, so
Yeah.
I have confidence in you. I trust you
Oh,
because I know you.
I'm such a failure.
Okay.
Okay.
I know my wife. We've been
Yes.
together for
Yeah,
40
better,
years.
Better analogy. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So walking with the Lord, he will purposely allow us to go through things to check our trust in Him, to cause to have our faith grow in Him and trust in Him. And so He will take us through little things, and then gradually things would grow. So I have experienced, we have experienced as a family many times His faithfulness, His goodness, His kindness. And because He is faithful, we were able to trust Him in this. If He wanted us to go up, then He would care for us. Yeah. So we said to the girls, all right, because all their friends were telling them, look, they're killing people along the way. bombing these cars. If you go up, you're going to die. And so I said, okay, let's get together tonight. We'll spend time in the presence of the Lord, all of us as a family. I won't make the decision. As a family, we'll make a decision. And so we spent time with the Lord, and the Lord spoke to Miriam and Michaela the most. Even to Michaela, he told her the actual date and times and how long we're going to be there, when to come back. And so after we shared and we prayed, they were crying. They said, Daddy, we're afraid, but we know it's God. So we're willing to go. They woke up the next morning happy and free. They were fine. So we did go, and it was an amazing journey. I won't go into it here, but there's time? Okay, so I decided to go by myself, not escorted. Okay, with
What?
because when you go with the caravan, the convoy,
Yeah.
it attracts the enemy fire. And there's lots of ambush. I've already gone through an ambush, and I know what it's like, and God set me free from that. But I just love just going by myself with the Lord. So we went through enemy territory.
The same road.
Yes, same road. And we went through a forest of about 150, 200 miles, which was their domain, the enemy soldiers. And there's nobody on the road at all. But we went through, and it was fine. It was good. We went through to one of the main cities, and we continued our journey.
Okay, time out. No, just stop. So, yeah, we're going to go. It's going to be good. The Lord's good. We fell asleep, and there's joy the next morning. Great. So my natural process would be, we're going to go in the convoy.
Yes.
Why didn't you pick
Why
the
did you want
convoy?
to go in a convoy?
Yeah. Like, I know you answered it, but it doesn't.
But why would you?
Because it's what makes sense.
Yeah, because you want to be protected.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. But if God took us,
Yeah.
then we can trust him. I just felt we had to go by ourselves, that's all.
I love that. I love that about you. And I listen, we have similar, we have similar stories.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but you just don't, listening to other people tell him is weird. Yeah. But I love it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
then we came to another section. And there we were supposed to stop and wait for the convoy and go with the convoy. But we decided just to keep going. I don't know, the Lord closed the eyes of the police and the soldiers and so forth, and they allowed us to go through. Nobody stopped us. We just went on by ourselves. And as we were going, there were soldiers with machine guns along the way, but they didn't stop us. They didn't seem to look at us or know that we're going by. We just kept going. And we got to a final barrier just before Nampula.
Yeah.
And there's a metal barrier across the road. And so we stopped, and the soldier there came up to us and said, "What are you doing here?" And, well, we're traveling to Pemba. And he said, "Where are my colleagues?" I said, "Well, we passed them on the way, but they didn't stop us." And he was stunned. He didn't know what to say. And so he just lifted the barrier and let us go through. And so we kept going. We arrived safely and enjoyed the harvest school. In that time, I had to go across to Lishing, which is another 15 hours drive. And on the way back, I said to the Lord, "Lord, the time is coming to go back to Dondo. I don't know what's best, whether I should leave early in the morning," because the journey is about a 20-hour journey because of the road conditions. And if you start early in the morning in Pemba to go down to Dondo, we arrive at night, and we go through dangerous situations at nighttime. And I wanted to go at daytime. So I said to the Lord, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should leave Pemba during the daytime and travel at nighttime through the dangerous parts, or should I leave here at nighttime and then go through the dangerous parts during the daytime? And immediately the Lord said, even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will be with you. And so, okay, thank you. That's all I need to know.
So green light.
Yeah,
basically.
green light for me to arrive there at nighttime, to leave early in the morning at Pemba.
Yeah.
And travel and go through the dangerous part at night.
So what's your wife saying?
I don't know what she
this
was
whole
saying
time?
at that
Like,
time.
are you guys in agreement?
Yeah. We talk it over. We pray about it.
Okay. Okay, so what does this mean for us? Hearing his voice.
Yes.
Just talk to me about, in the most simplistic way, direction, whether it's dangerous, a big move, because all of us are making dangerous decisions. Whether it's a move, starting something, building something. You know, if you could just simplify.
Okay.
Because I hear confidence in the word.
Debbie and I made a decision that we wanted to know the Lord and to actually involve him in all of our personal decisions that we make. And that has been a journey. I think the Lord allows us to be free, to go to the depth that we're willing to go, and the type of relationship we'd like to have with the Lord. He loves us still. We're his children, and so forth. We do things because we love him. We want to go to places because there might be a move of God or whatever, and so forth. So we make decisions and that's fine. But we weren't content with just that. We wanted to be conscious of his involvement in all the decisions we made, and give him glory about it, and not think we made the decision to come, or we made the decision to go. No, God told us we need to do that.
Yeah.
And so with that confidence, we are able to do what we need to do.
Come on.
Yeah. So it's, how can I explain? It's not a comparison thing. It's a depth thing. It's a relational thing. We wanted, I don't know how many people here have read the Francis of Assisi's book, Practicing the Presence of God. Practicing the Presence of God. That's been our heart. Just practicing his presence every day, and to be allowing him to guide us, even in the little things.
Okay. So in a marriage,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife and I have a very hard time praying together.
Right.
I can't believe I just admitted that,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? Okay, thank you. Guys, help me out here. It's quiet up here, okay? It is. I'm not, this is something that I desire. I desire this relationship with the Lord more. And I know I'm growing, but like, in the West, we love practicals, right? Like, give me that teaching, give me that book on that thing. What are some of the just practicals that has looked like in your life as you've grown?
It's a journey still, because, like you said, being in the practical, like when you have to make quick decisions in moments, the temptation is to take those moments and make the decisions yourselves, and myself, and but then later on, you think, oh Lord, I didn't do that well. I should have asked you first whether I should have done it or not, and allow him to speak into that situation. But I believe the Lord still honors that. And deep inside, he can still guide, even though consciously asking him or not asking him, the heart desires to please him in whatever we do. So he does lead us in decisions that we do make. And, but few times we can acknowledge the fact it's God that led me.
Yeah.
But we actually made the decision. Like we would discuss things and, what do you think about this? Should we do this? Yeah, let's go do it. Okay, we're in agreement. So we go do it.
Yeah.
But we haven't sat down to actually seek the Lord about it and ask the Lord to speak to us both. I remember when we were called to go to Mozambique in 2004.
I remember when you came.
Yes.
Yeah,
I came
you had two little
2004.
twins.
Yeah. We were the Lord spoke to us that we needed to come. But we were going to come many months after the twins were coming. They were going to the harvest school in 2005, May, and in Pemba. And then we were going to come in August after all the tax stuff was finished and so on. Then we would come with a different organization. And so we were happy with that. We made that decision. I made that decision, actually, because it was more practical. And but then Debbie was upstairs just in her time with the Lord, and I was downstairs with my time with the Lord. And he spoke to us both at the same time. Go quickly. Go early. And we thought, oh, right, okay. So we had to give up our plans, and we went with the twins early. And so we had to open our heart and let the Lord do what he wanted to do.
There's two more things as I'm looking at the clock. There's two more things I want to ask you. I'll let you pick which one.
Okay.
Fear and fear of things happening to your family.
Yeah.
Or finance. Which one? Or do you guys want to hear both?
Well, actually, they both go together. Yeah. Last night, Carmelie, you want to stand up, Carmelie? She's 21, and such a blessing. You see her out here dancing at the front. And anyway, she grabbed the Bible and started reading. And I said to her, could you please read out loud and read to all of us as a family? So she started reading. It was Mark chapter 4. And the story was Jesus in the boat and going across the lake, and he was asleep. But the disciples were terrified because of the storm. And so they went to wake him up. And Jesus calms the storm and says to his disciples, what are you afraid about? Don't you have faith? And what he's saying was, don't you trust me? And so he says, who is this guy? Who is Jesus? So anyways, immediately when she was reading that, I knew the Lord was speaking to me. Because over these last weeks, months, being here in the States, I've been thinking a lot about my two girls, because the other girls are married, and our son is married. And I'm not young any longer. I feel young, but
What's the age gap? Your oldest?
Yes, our oldest, the twins, Antoinette and Annalisa, they are 39. And Jemima is 13.
26 years.
Yeah.
26 years.
Yes. So we've been raising children all our lives. So the thing is, we're still on the mission field. I'm almost 70. And Jemima's still 13. And I was thinking about it, calculating. By the time she's 21, that's let's say another 10 years, I'll be 80. And I'm still on the mission field because I won't retire. And so I was thinking, Lord, what's that going to look like? How is that going to be? Because we have nothing. I have the house there in Pemba. I could sell that and so on. Where are we going to be in 10 years' time or 15 years' time? Are we going to live there in Jemima, live in Mozambique all her life? I had no idea. And I was allowing myself to get anxious about that provision and care. The Lord, over the years in 2020, in Brazil, when we were there, closed down in the COVID, met with me over the Lord's Supper concerning that. We're becoming members of Mount Zion Church. So, and the Lord met me there, and I was just weeping before the Lord because he was dealing with this issue of his provision and care. If God created Carmelie and Jemima, he knows exactly what he wants to do with them and how. And if he gave them to us at the time of life that he gave them to us, then he is quite able to provide the energy, the strength, the finance, everything necessary to be able to raise them up for his glory and to see them prosper in life, just like all of our other children.
Yeah.
And so we're human, and these questions come by all the time. But it's just a constant need just to give it up before the Lord and just give it into his hands and be at peace and rest in the fact that he is the sovereign Lord. He created, the Bible says he created each of us for his glory and for his pleasure. And so if that's the case, then our kids belong to him, and they're for his pleasure, for his glory, for him to do what he likes with them. The Lord told us right at the very beginning when we married was that our children were for him, not for us, and that we're to raise them for him. And so we've been very intentional in laying those foundations of kingdom mentality and so forth, that they're not of this world. They don't belong to this kingdom here in this world, but they belong to the Lord, and they're created for his glory. And so with that mentality, they're able to go anywhere in the world, wherever God sends them, and not have an identity crisis, and able to go where God wants them to go.
When you look at his goodness, there's also been a lot of chaos.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Your daughter was
Attacked. Yeah.
Well, in Pemba,
Yeah.
the guard, the
Yes.
poison.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, that was in Lishinga.
Lishinga. So your daughter was poisoned by
a guard that they had to dismiss.
You've had malaria?
Yes, many times.
How many times? Not just you, your family?
All of our family. All of our children almost dying from malaria.
Yeah. You've been tied up.
No, I haven't been tied.
Your family has.
Not
Some of your
tied,
kids. I'm sorry.
Attacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of times when I think of obedience to the Lord, right? Following the move of the Holy Spirit, provision of God, we discredit that stuff's not going to happen. It's almost like, the Lord's calling us to go to the school, so we're going to go. I'm going to drive alone on this road where there's a war, and it's going to be good.
Yeah.
How have you guys handled those seasons where it's like, wow, my daughter's head's gashed open and bleeding?
Yeah, Hank actually asked me that question.
That's
the other
his
week.
Son-in-law.
Yes. How did we navigate and handle the consequences of the different crises we've gone through?
Yeah.
And the trauma that potentially could occur.
Yeah.
And because I'm listening to a lot of news and the trauma people are going through, any little thing becomes a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And I really don't know how to explain this, because I know that Antoinette and Annalisa, when they got married, they needed to go through a time of healing you know, in their hearts and deal with issues from the past. And but they're fine now. I mean, they're really
In all the years I've known, I've never heard them bring that up
right.
at all.
But it was something just to help them, process and to live victoriously in that sense. Yes.
I mean, my kids are going to need it, and we're not on the field right now, you know. So yeah, I get it. I'm with you.
But as me as a person, we've gone through all of those things, and I just thank the Lord that I haven't had or needed to go through somebody. How can I explain? I have go through. I didn't need to go through therapy. The Lord Jesus has been my therapist.
Wow.
I've had to be very honest with the Lord and deal with issues with Him.
Yeah.
And I can trust Him. So it's been a pleasure to just let Him deal with the issues that I've had in my heart.
Yeah.
And to heal me from those things.
Yeah.
But after all these years, I'm very happy about what we've gone through.
Yeah.
Sad that my kids have had to go through certain things.
Yeah.
But also happy in the sense that they have grown and received the consequence of trusting the Lord.
Yeah.
That deposit in their hearts, that faith in the Lord, the confidence in the Lord. They've seen His miracles. They've seen His interventions.
Yeah. They've
seen the way He speaks. And so they have that confidence and able to go through difficult times and not be traumatized by it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Any words for husbands?
Husbands, love your wives. Love them very much. Love them very much. They're very precious. God gave you a beautiful wife on purpose and a very integral part of your journey with the Lord. It's been an amazing journey with Debbie.
Yeah.
She's a lot more prophetic than I am. And,
yes, she is.
And so it's the Lord, what do you call that?
Knits?
Yeah, together on purpose, the different gifts and so forth that work together. And so that's been amazing.
Come on.
Yeah, so I really appreciate her in that. She's had a lot of input.
Yeah.
I
love that. We have a few minutes. Is there anybody that has any questions about anything? Yeah. Hi. How do you hear the voice of God?
There's many ways. There's many ways of hearing the voice of God. Sometimes it's a vision. Sometimes it's you hear His voice. Sometimes it's a thought. Sometimes you just open the Bible, and as you're reading, He speaks. You know it's Him. Sometimes people come and talk to you and mention something, and you know that that's God. Our children, sometimes they come up with the most random word, and we know it's God. Yes, that's it. We know that that's the Lord speaking there. I know that as like our kids, I remember when God called us out of Mozambique for 2 years in 2019, just before COVID hit. We were talking to Heidi in Pemba, but the kids weren't with us at that time. It was just Heidi, Debbie, and I talking about us going to Brazil. And that night, after talking with her, we were at dinner, having dinner with just our little family. And Jemima, our youngest, was at the head of the table. And I was beside her, and all of a sudden see her go like this. And I said, "What is it, Jemima?" She said, "The Lord just told me that we're going to Brazil." And I said, "Yes, that's right. We're going to Brazil." It was just amazing that the Lord spoke to her to be able to confirm to us that we were going to Brazil. And for her, it was an audible voice, not an audible voice that she heard outside, but something in her said, "You're going to Brazil." And it's just, sometimes we think it's our imagination.
Yeah.
It's our voice. We're talking, having a conversation within ourselves. It's actually the Lord and you having an argument maybe or discussing something, but it's actually the Lord. And I've had to learn to distinguish my own voice from what he's trying to say to me. And that's been a bit of a journey. And I get things wrong sometimes. But yeah.
Anybody? Yeah.
You mentioned your children a lot. You mentioned your children a lot. So how did the Lord connect you with, you said Jemima? How did the Lord connect you with your children? We're in the process of fostering to adopt.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, how did you know that the Lord sent you your children in that whole story?
Okay. So they're all born. My wife bore all of our children. We don't have adopted children. Our twins,
Yeah.
we tried not having children, but the Lord had other thoughts. And they were born because God wanted them. And so then we had a space of 9 years before our son came along.
Really?
Yeah, 9
Wow.
years. And the Lord was dealing with us concerning having children. And
So you didn't want children?
we thought, well, we had, Debbie lost a pregnancy in between.
Miscarriage. Yeah.
And so we thought it might be best as missionaries that we'd just be happy with two, with Antoinette.
That's definitely not what happened, Peter. Yeah.
And so, but then the Lord began to speak to us after 8 years. He said that he wanted us to trust him, that he is the sovereign Lord. We belong to him, and that he wanted children from us for him, for his glory. So we had to bow down to that and allow him to do that. Because as missionaries, we travel.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier with fewer number of
It's so
children.
much cheaper.
It's cheaper, easier to travel. You can't have a 5-seat car. You have to have
Right.
a minivan, and
But you had a truck
I had a
that
truck.
you put all
All of them.
10,
8.
8 of you guys in,
Yes.
which is just like a little 5-seater. So,
Yes. Mm.
and they're not like F-150s here. They're smaller.
Yes. Like
You-
the Tacoma.
Yeah. And you guys drove all around. How many miles are on that? We're on that?
That's about 500,000 kilometers.
And you would fix it? Like, okay, I know there's a couple more questions, but so we'll get to a few more, and then I want you to just share a couple of miracles, and then I want to pray, because the miracle stories are just incredible as well. Anybody have go for it.
You talked about community and how here we are so separate.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas to help us create more community, come together more?
Wow.
Community. How do you create more community? No, don't look at me. No,
Well, I know here life is very programmed. It's very programmed. So it's very difficult to interrupt that. Like if we want to have visit some friends or something, we have to ring and say, do you have any day free? Let me see, maybe in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
We can get together and have something. And so you got to book yourself in. Because life is so programmed, and you have to program it because your lives are so busy. And so there's very little time for fellowship and intimacy and community and so forth. I imagine it's because you really love your kids and you really want to see your kids grow and develop. You know, I imagine.
I just love how you phrase that. I imagine. Yeah.
But depends on the priorities that you have.
Yeah.
And whether you want to have your house open for fellowship. and invite people, have open houses.
Your daughter,
Yes.
can I just, so I think, can I maybe speak to this as well? Because we did missions community for years. First of all, it's a choice. It's a choice, and you have to fight for it, and you have to be very open with confrontation. So you have to set, there's rules in living in community with people. Your daughter, when we were up at the Iris house,
Yes.
which we're now no longer at it, and I said, Antoinette, how do you feel? Like, we don't have this community house we used to gather. We had hundreds of missionaries through there, and just guess, like, there's a chunk of you even in this room that visited that at one time or another. And she said, oh, I'm so excited because now people will show up at my house unannounced. I love it when people come to my house unannounced. And I was like, I've never heard anyone say that before, you know? And so I think it's something that you have to go after.
Yeah.
I read this amazing book on Hesed community. It's a Hebrew word, which means a community of loving kindness. It's intentional, and it's where actually most people grow the most in their life. So I would throw it out there that when you first met Jesus, you were brought into some community that opened up their doors, opened up their home. If you had a question about Jesus, they would answer, right? Am I right? No? Like if there was someone there that you could call, that you could stop by and they'd pray for you, but it's that forever, right? And keeping yourself a place. Like Jesus said, go and make disciples. Disciples are not made from a book or a program. They're made from the same way that Christ did. Come with me. We're doing life together. Everybody that I've sat under, whether it's been Larry for the time here, Randy Clark or Heidi, it's because I jumped into their world and I served them. So I think in order for community to take place, you have to be willing to serve and be willing to break boundaries that I think a lot of us like to have in our lives.
Yeah.
I don't want a boundary in my life that Christ didn't have in his life. So yeah, it costs you something. Actually, I think discipleship and community will cost you more than anything else.
Yeah.
It really will. It is one of the most costly things. And it comes at our pride, right? We want to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we don't want to do it. And I came to this great realization that the more people you love, and the more people you serve, and the more people you open your life up to, the more problems you have. Any given day, I have a list of 5 emergencies. Yesterday, a baby died from a friend of mine. 2 days ago, another baby died from a friend of mine. Just this week, there's somebody that I know that was put in jail. There's somebody I know whose child was abused. This is just in the last 4 days. And I think a lot of people run from community because when you actually get involved in people's lives, you actually are required to grow in love, patience, humility, all these things. And so I think a lot of people go away from it because when they taste it, it's like, there's too much in here. Iron sharpens iron. You guys with me? So community requires that. And on the missions field, you just live in community. You don't, and if you don't, you're done. Like you won't last.
You can't choose your neighbor.
Right.
But the other thing is too, we run away from problems because we have low tolerance to problems. Like with our family, our intimate family, our children so far are more than enough. The issues, the things, right. the everyday relational issues and dealing with problems and everything that comes with raising children seems to be more than enough for the parents. Yeah. But I think that ability to grow, like for instance, we have 7 children, and people think, well, how did you do that? It's just that God gives the grace necessary. 2 is sufficient, but then when he gives another 3 is sufficient. 4 is sufficient. And God gives you grace to be able to handle and to cope and to be able to carry all the responsibility that involves. Yeah. And that's the same with having relationships with people around you. Yeah. Like Will was saying, people, God wants us to love the unlovely, Not everybody's nice. Not everybody speaks nice words to you. And yet that's not the only people that God wants us to relate with.
Yeah.
God wants us to relate with people who aren't so lovely to love.
Yeah.
And that is what expands our heart
Yeah.
and enables us to love more.
Yeah. New Year's Eve, knock at our door. People I'd never met. Come on in. They were like, what are you doing? Nobody in my house asked, why are we doing this? I mean, there might have been that thought. But you can actually get to a place where you're excited about bringing in new people. And you don't live from a place of protecting yourself. You live for a place of looking for opportunity where God wants to move.
Yeah.
And listen, it's not always perfect, and you will get stolen from. You will be hurt. It will cost you something. But the Bible's very, very clear. We need to love our neighbors as ourselves. And so I think community is a massive thing. Everyone's looking for it. Very few know how to do it well. But when you find it, God, dig in. Dig in.
But also, you grow with it.
Yep.
Because one of the things is we always look for a community where we feel at home.
Yep.
When actually where you are, you can actually create community.
Yeah.
And that's hard work.
It
in
is.
the sense that you have to open up yourself and you intentionally begin to establish relationship.
Yep.
And so I was talking with Hank a couple of weeks ago about that. You know, why do we travel so many miles to go to a church where we feel comfortable and at home, when that's not what God calls us to? Because why do you looking for comfort? Why are you looking for a place to be at home? You're never going to change there. You're going to be exactly the same.
Oof.
Because
unless you're coming here.
It's the challenges. It's the challenges that actually cause you to grow.
Yeah.
If everything's going to be easy and nice, then that's the way you're going to be all your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to be able to grow, you need to be with people who will challenge you and actually cause you to change in your own heart.
Yeah. Come on. So Supernatural Wednesdays, right? We're going to pray. We're going to prophesy over people. But the reason why I wanted to bring Peter up here, one, you're leaving tomorrow, and I wanted to just let all these amazing people just listen to you because you've blessed my life. You're one of many people that speaks into me, and then I've always asked for wisdom. One. Number two, you guys move in miracles. You have planted churches. You have seen in crazy miracles. Is there anything? What I've heard you say is this is a lifestyle, a seedbed for the miraculous. Hearing His voice, following Him, right? Going where He says to go. What are some of the craziest things you've seen the Lord do as you've gone?
It gets complicated.
And then James, can you come on up here? Yeah, go for it, Peter.
Like with Carmelie, she's a miracle in itself when she was born.
Yeah.
And then, when was it? 2012? She got malaria, very bad malaria, cerebral malaria.
Okay, pause. Cerebral malaria, you die. It is a death sentence. I've had malaria 6 times.
Yes.
Malaria is awful, and you can die just from regular malaria. Cerebral malaria, it's a death sentence 100% of the time. Okay.
So she was only what? How old was Carmelie at the time when she got that malaria? 8 or 9 years old. So Debbie wasn't around because she had to go to Australia because her brother had been diagnosed cancer and only had a few months to live. So she went. In her absence, Carmelie got malaria. And before she got malaria, before Debbie went, I had already booked tickets for Annalisa to go to Brazil with me to meet her future husband and her family and his family. And it all happened at the same time. So Debbie was gone. Carmelie had malaria. She was on the floor. She lost all ability to walk, talk, and could only just have fluids. And so we're just worshiping, and just trusting the Lord for healing. And we had no way of getting out of there. And so the time came when I had to go to Brazil with Annalisa. So we had to put Carmelie on our lap, on the kids' laps in the back seat, lying down. We were driving from Lixinga through to Pemba, 10, 12-hour drive.
And this isn't like a paved road.
No, this is a goat track.
Yeah.
Through a wilderness. And it was raining. We got stuck in the mud once. Annalisa also had malaria. She couldn't do much. And then the Lord just miraculously got us out of the mud before it started raining again. So we arrive in Pemba. We're leaving the kids with Hank and Antoinette until Debbie arrived back from Australia. So the doctors had a look at Carmelie there in Pemba, and they said there's no hope for her. And there's nothing that they could do. So we just committed her to the Lord. I left. And I left with Annalisa very bad with malaria. And we finally got into Johannesburg. I met Debbie by surprise. I didn't realize that we were going to cross paths in Maputo. She came off her plane. I came off our plane. We're getting our connecting flight. She was getting her connecting flight. But we only had 15 minutes to talk. We were in the lobby. The baby, Jemima, was having diarrhea. So we could only talk for a few minutes. She had to rush into the bathroom, change her. Then she had to go. I had to go.
And she was going back to be with Carmelie.
She was going back to Lixinga.
To Lixinga.
And then Hank and Antoinette was going to take all the kids back to Lixinga.
Okay, where's Carmelie at this point?
With Hank and Antoinette in Pemba.
And you...
Just
okay.
unwell.
Yeah?
Yeah, just unwell. And... but I believe healed of the malaria, cerebral, but her body wasn't functioning.
Yeah.
So Debbie arrives in Lixinga. We fly into Johannesburg. Their scanners pick up that Annalisa has fever. So they pull us out, take her to the clinic, give her malaria medicine, and then allow us to take the flight to Brazil. So we arrive in Brazil, and I get news that Hank and Antoinette and the kids have had an accident. They had been driving out of Pemba to Lixinga. They hit a mud patch. The car just went out of control, flipped two or three times, landed on its wheels, everything smashed, but nobody was hurt. And so...
Is this warfare? I don't want to stop you, but do you look at this as warfare? Do you look at, what do you? Yep.
I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to sit.
Okay.
I'm going to stand down here. So in the morning, is it warfare? You know, God is the one who knows all things. I was praying in the morning about their journey coming across. I had no idea that Carmelie had been so sick because they had not told me. They just told me she had malaria. They didn't want to put any further burden upon me. And that was probably helpful, but as a, God knows. So I was praying, and I was praying, came to my thoughts, the verse that says that he gives his angels charge over you lest you dash your foot against a stone. And I started to say, yes, Lord, even the car. I had no idea. I wasn't thinking about an accident. I'm just praying words that came from my spirit. Even the car, Lord, hitting a stone is what I was thinking about at that moment. And my eyes filled up with tears. And I wondered, why am I crying? And then I just took it as an intercession before the Lord and then left it before the Lord and didn't think about it anymore. And then later on in the morning, I was preparing, waiting for them to come. And later in the morning, I thought, oh yes, Antoinette, I want to call her. But actually, I believe at that moment I was supposed to pray. But I didn't. I was just thinking in the natural, oh yes, it was to call. So I tried to call and it wouldn't go through. But when a little bit of time had gone by, she called and told me about the accident. And, there are things that we see and there are things that we don't see in life. And a lot of what we don't see is so much greater than what we're seeing. And some things we discover soon and some things we discover later. I remember there was a pastor that we dealt with a lot after we got spirit-filled in Spain as missionaries. And he would say, what you don't understand now, you'll understand later. And it's very, very true. And so skipping forward a little bit in that story, they had the accident, the car flipped. Hank asked if everybody was all right. There was a song that had been playing on the CD player in the car. And they didn't begin to sing that song to say thank you. They began to sing a different song to give thanks to the Lord. And as they were singing, they heard someone's voice singing strongly. It was someone who'd stopped talking, and that was Carmelie. And she was singing and she was healed. And she had been healed in the midst of that accident. But what we did not know was something that we only found out last January. We just all knew, her included, that she had been healed in that accident, that God had done this wonderful gift of, in the midst of tragedy, doing this wonderful miracle. But last January, I asked our daughter who's in Brazil, please can you tell me what song it was that was playing? Because she had mentioned that she'd remembered after many years. And she said, oh, it's a Kim Walker song. It's Jesus, Walk With Me. So I looked it up, and it was a song that we had not listened to for years. You go through times where you listen to songs, right? So we hadn't listened for years. So Carmelie had not heard that song for many years, perhaps from that time. And I put it on and I said to her, Carmelie, this is the song that was playing in the middle of the accident. And she suddenly lit up and she said, Jesus was in the car with me? And I said, yes, for sure, Carmelie. He was in the car with you. He was. You got healed. She said, no, Jesus was in the car with me. And I said, did you see him? And she said, yes, he was right there. And I reached out to touch him, but before I could touch him, he touched me. And power went from my head to my feet. And I was healed. And I just wanted to say with you, Jesus is in the car with you. No matter what's happening with you today, whatever is happening in your life, Jesus is in the car with you. But fix your gaze on him like she did. Reach out to touch him, but he says, draw near to me, and I will draw near to you. And one other time when I heard the Lord say something to me was, I got this sudden sense, it was a nighttime when we were in Pemba, when we lived there for those 2 years. I got this sudden sense that somehow there would be an attack. That there had been some robberies happening in the city, but I'd been praying with the kids, and I got this sense, and the Lord said to me, he actually rebuked me, and he said, what are you worried about? He said, wasn't I with you the last time? And he said, doesn't it say in my word that all things work together for good? I said, yes, it does, Lord. And that's when he said, well, then what are you worried about? Because if I were to allow anything to happen, that he would turn it for good. And it did happen at like 2 o'clock in the morning, but they did not come into us. They went to the neighbors. And there was a lot of, tragedy that was happening there. But God did, I'm not going to go into the story for privacy, but God did unlock things and turn that for good. And we don't understand, and there's many things in life we don't have to understand, but we can know that Jesus is in the car with us.
I love that. Couple things. Can we just thank Peter and Debbie? But more than just stories about what God has done, I'm hungry for what he's doing here in your life. And the reality is, he is no respecter of nation or location. And everything that you heard today is about obedience to his voice, where you guys are at in the middle of where you're called. And I know that many of you are called right here, right now, wherever you're from. You're called. God has put you here. It's not about what you do. It's about the heart and the obedience of how you're doing with what he's put in front of you. And what I love so much about so many of the people that I get to serve is, at the end of the day, it's just obedience. So anytime I get around missionaries, I feel it, right? I'm like, oh, I've missed my calling, or I'm not doing enough. Like, guys, listen to me. You don't want to become a missionary unless God's called you. You don't want to become a minister unless God's called you. Here's what it is. It's like, what is God calling you to? The principle is the foundation of obedience. And I just think this is so beautiful, because I just heard a father and a mother share foundation stones, following his voice wherever they're at. That's what they're called to do. I don't know what you're called to do, but the principle is the same. The softness to his voice, the softness to the Spirit, the humility to go, I need you more than I want for myself. These are the principles.